Welcome to another deep dive, and big shout out to all the F1 Blogs fans watching over on YouTube. Today, we're going to really get into Checo Perez's future. You know, now that he's left Red Bull Racing,
Right.
we've got this incredible interview with Perez where he really opens up about how he's feeling, and his plans.
Yeah, it's really rare to get such an honest look at what a driver's going through, especially someone like Perez, who's, been at the top of the sport.
For sure. Okay, so we all know he's talked about the crazy pressure at Red Bull, right? All the scrutiny from the media,
Yeah.
the team. And he even said something like, I found my best self at Red Bull.
Yeah, I remember that.
But then he also talks about this newfound freedom and happiness. Those two things seem kind of at odds, don't they?
Yeah, it definitely suggests that Red Bull might have helped him become a better driver, but it came at a price.
Yeah.
And it's not a secret that they tend to favor one driver, and lately it's been all about Max Verstappen.
Right. And then he said something really interesting about negotiating his freedom now that he has it.
Yeah, that quote really stood out to me too. It makes you wonder how much control he felt he actually had at Red Bull.
Like maybe he felt stifled or something.
Yeah, maybe the constant pressure to keep up with Verstappen or not feeling like the team was fully behind him. It all just added up.
He even said he couldn't hug his nephews for fear of getting sick and affecting his performance.
Wow.
I mean, that's some serious dedication, but also insane pressure.
Absolutely. Most people can't even imagine that kind of lifestyle.
So it makes sense that he's enjoying these simple things now, right? Just spending time with family without all that stress.
Yeah, for sure. It seems like he's rediscovering a part of himself that he had to put on hold for his racing career.
But he's also made it super clear that he's not done racing. He's just taking his time figuring out what makes him happy.
Yeah, and he gave himself 6 months to decide, which I think shows he's being really thoughtful about it.
Not rushing into anything.
Exactly. His priorities seem to have shifted.
Okay, so let's look at some of his options. One that's been in the news is Andretti Cadillac.
Right.
Mario Andretti has said he wants an experienced driver alongside Colton Herta. Could Perez be that guy?
It's possible, but it's not that straightforward. Andretti getting into Formula One has been a tough fight. A lot of the other teams don't want them there.
Really? Why is that?
Well, they see it as a threat, especially since Andretti has such strong American backing.
So there's a political element to it.
Absolutely.
So if Perez joined Andretti, he'd be right in the middle of all that drama.
Yeah, he wouldn't just be a driver. He'd be a symbol in this power struggle.
And would he even want that?
It depends what he's looking for. If you want stability and to just focus on driving, maybe not. But if he likes the idea of building something new, shaking things up, it might be a good fit.
Right, so his Red Bull experience could influence his decision.
Definitely, he's seen how internal politics can play out at a top team, so he'll probably be more careful now.
What about Formula E?
Ah, yes, Formula E.
There's been some talk about that even from Perez's dad.
Yeah, and Alberto Longo, the Formula E director, even said something about Perez coming home because they have a history together.
Interesting. So what's Formula E all about? I'll be honest.
Yeah.
I don't know much about it.
Well, it's growing really fast, and it's very different from Formula One.
How so?
It's all about energy management and strategy more than just pure speed.
Huh, so managing your battery and stuff.
Exactly. You have to be really smart about when you push and when you conserve energy.
So kind of like a chess match on wheels.
I like that. Yeah, very strategic kind of racing.
Cool. And the tracks are different too, right?
Totally. Formula E races are on these tight street circuits in cities all around the world. Very challenging.
Overtaking must be a nightmare.
Yeah, it can be. It requires a lot of precision and seizing opportunities when they come up.
So would Perez's skills transfer over to Formula E? Or would he need to learn a whole new way of driving?
It's a good question. There are some skills that would help, like his racecraft and consistency, but Formula E demands a different finesse. It's all about braking late, managing energy, and being smooth through those tight corners.
Sounds tough.
It is, but we've seen other Formula One drivers make the switch successfully, like Stoffel Van Dorn and Pascal Wehrlein.
So it's not impossible for Perez.
Exactly, and it could be a chance to reinvent himself. Prove he can adapt and succeed in a different environment.
And Formula E is seen as the future by a lot of people, right?
Yeah, with the focus on electric powertrains and sustainability, it's definitely gaining momentum.
And Perez has said he wants to find something that aligns with his values, so that could be a big factor.
For sure, it's a series that's pushing the boundaries of technology, and that might appeal to him.
So we have Andretti Cadillac with all the political drama, and Formula E with its focus on the future. Two very different options.
Yeah, and we can't rule out a return to Formula One with a different team.
True. There are always rumors floating around.
Maybe there's a team out there that would be a perfect fit for him.
A team that values his experience and consistency.
Exactly. A team where he wouldn't be overshadowed and could really thrive.
So Checo has a lot to think about.
He does, and it'll be interesting to see what he decides.
Whatever he chooses, his journey shows how much motorsport is changing.
Yeah, it's not just about winning at all costs anymore. Drivers are looking for something more.
They're human beings with their own needs and goals.
And Perez's story reminds us of that it's about finding fulfillment both on and off the track.
It's a story that goes beyond racing and speaks to something we all search for, purpose and happiness.
Exactly, and that's what makes it so compelling to follow. You know, it's interesting to think about how Perez's situation is part of something bigger.
Oh, yeah. What do you mean?
Well, we're seeing more and more drivers, thinking about their well-being and wanting opportunities that fit their values.
Like wanting more time with family or having more say in their careers.
Exactly. It's not just about chasing championships anymore. Drivers are realizing there's more to life than just racing.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, it's such a demanding job.
Yeah.
The pressures to travel, it's got to take a toll.
Absolutely. And this shift is forcing teams and the whole sport to change. They can't just treat drivers like machines anymore.
So how do you think this will play out with Perez? What do you see him doing?
That's the big question, isn't it? He's got some interesting choices.
Let's go back to the Andretti Cadillac option. You mentioned there's a lot of politics involved.
Yeah, some of the current teams don't want Andretti in Formula One at all.
Why not?
They see it as a threat, especially because Andretti has strong American support. It's a power play.
So Perez joining Andretti would be a big statement.
Yeah, he'd be right in the middle of that fight.
So would he want that? I mean, it doesn't sound very peaceful.
It depends on what he's looking for. If he wants a quiet place to just drive, maybe not. But if he likes the challenge of building something new and shaking things up, it could be tempting.
And his experience at Red Bull has probably taught him a lot about these things.
Oh, definitely. He's seen how messy team politics can get, so he'll be more careful this time.
All right, what about Formula E?
Yeah, Formula E, it's a whole different ballgame compared to Formula One.
You said it's more about energy management and strategy. Can you explain that a bit more?
Sure. So in Formula E, drivers have a limited amount of energy for the whole race.
Oh, wow.
It's not just about going flat out. They have to think about when to push and when to save energy.
Sounds like a mental challenge.
Yeah, it's almost like a chess match on wheels.
I like that. A very strategic kind of racing. What about the tracks themselves? Are they like Formula One circuits?
No, they're completely different. Formula E races are on these tight street circuits in cities all over the world.
Oh, wow. So like through the streets.
Yeah, very narrow and twisty, which makes overtaking super difficult.
So you need different skills than in Formula One.
Yeah, some things are similar, like racecraft and consistency, but Formula E is all about braking late, managing that energy, and being smooth in tight corners.
Sounds like a steep learning curve.
It is, but some Formula One drivers have made the transition successfully, like Stoffel Van Dorn and Pascal Wehrlein.
So it's possible for Perez.
Absolutely, and it could be a chance to show everyone how adaptable he is, prove he can master a new style of racing.
And Formula E is kind of trendy right now.
Yeah.
A lot of people are excited about it.
Yeah, the focus on electric cars and sustainability is definitely attracting attention.
And Perez has talked about wanting to do something meaningful, so that could be a factor for him.
For sure, it's a series that's pushing the boundaries, and that might appeal to him.
So we have Andretti Cadillac with all its politics and Formula E with its focus on the future. Very different paths.
Yeah, and we can't forget about a possible return to Formula One with a different team.
Oh, yeah, true. There are always rumors going around.
Maybe there's a team out there that would be a perfect fit for him.
A team that appreciates his experience and consistency.
Exactly. A team where he could really shine, not be in anyone's shadow.
So Checo has some big decisions coming up.
He does, and it'll be fascinating to see what he chooses.
No matter what he picks, his story shows us how much motorsport is changing.
Yeah, it's not just about winning at all costs anymore. Drivers are looking for more.
They're human beings with their own needs and goals.
Right. And Perez's story reminds us of that. It's about finding what truly makes you happy on and off the track.
A story that goes beyond racing and connects with something we all want, that feeling of purpose and happiness. It's amazing how many people relate to Perez's story, even if they're not like hardcore racing fans.
Yeah, it really speaks to that universal thing of, wanting to be true to yourself and finding who you are.
Yeah, like we all go through times when we have to figure out what's important to us.
Exactly. And for Perez, it's all happening in the public eye. Everyone's watching and analyzing him.
Which makes it even more interesting to see how he handles it.
Totally. It's like a real-time look at someone growing and changing their career.
And it shows us that there's no single definition of success, right?
Absolutely. For some drivers, it's all about championships and trophies, but for others, it might be finding a team that respects them, or a series that fits their values, or just having the freedom to live their life.
And it's cool to see Perez putting those things first.
Yeah, he's not afraid to walk away from something that's not working for him anymore.
And he's willing to take chances and try new things.
Exactly. He's challenging the idea of what a successful racing driver should be.
And maybe inspiring others to do the same.
Hopefully.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into Checo Perez's future, there's a lot of excitement and curiosity.
Definitely. We don't know what he'll do next, but it's going to be fun to watch.
He's a talented guy with a lot to offer whatever he decides. We wish him the best.
Absolutely.
It's been a great conversation, really insightful.
Yeah.
We've learned so much about Perez and about how much things are changing in motorsport.
It's a reminder that even in Formula One, the human side of things is really important.
And that sometimes the biggest wins come from within, finding yourself and what makes you happy.
We'll see.
A huge thanks to everyone for joining us on this deep dive, especially all the F1 Blogs viewers on YouTube.
Thanks, everyone.
Don't forget to subscribe to F1 Blogs for more great Formula One content, and be sure to share this deep dive with your friends and fellow racing fans. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep.